7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
He has a lot of problems.
Struggle to be top 5 in points at the end of the season.
Wow.
You bleach your hair, you're a sellout.
Yo, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Moto Aftermath Show. This is episode number 260. We are here in studio, and what I mean by we is I am here in studio. My name is Travis. I'm your host. Thanks for tuning in. We got a bit of a different show today. It's going to be a bit of a shorter show. Basically, it's Super Bowl Sunday, so Justin and Cole are out doing Super Bowl things. My family is traveling here later this evening, so I have to film this show and get it edited and get it up all tonight before I leave. So I have a huge amount of stuff I got to do here in the next couple of hours before we got to take off to the airport. So with that being said, we're going to jump right into it. Like I said, this is going to be a more condensed, precise show. This is a solo show, just me by myself. So if you don't like the sound of my voice, sorry about that. We'll see you guys in a couple of weeks after Arlington. So before we jump in, let's just thank our sponsors. So first off, presenting sponsor, 50 Grafx, our newest presenting sponsor on board for all your custom graphics needs. Locally owned and family-run graphics company out of the east side of Michigan there. They can do all sorts of custom graphics for all your bikes, so make sure to hit them up with all your requests there. Good, solid quality graphics. I'm working on putting the graphics kit actually on my 250F right now that they sent over for me, so that will be looking fresh even at the practice track this year, because that's usually all I hit. So make sure to check them out, 50graphics.com. Link in the description down below. And I do have a code, which hopefully I'll remember to put in the description this week, that will get you, I believe it's 15% off. So again, all that info will be in the description down below. Also presenting the show, Complete Racing Solutions, Coach Rob and the whole staff there at Complete Racing Solutions, doing these micro 30-minute workouts. If you can produce 30 minutes per day, or get yourself 30 minutes per day, you can do a workout, as many of them per week as you want to. They are $22 per month to have access to them. If you pay annually, aka all at once, you can get it down to about $15 per month. Make sure to check them out, CompleteRacingSolutions.com. Again, link in the description down below. We've also got Worx, TLR Coatings, Issac Nelson Designs, and Holster Co. all on board with us here. We will have a TLR Coatings tinfoil hat today, which will be quite interesting. Worx going to bring you our 450 race review. 50 Graphics going to bring you our 250 race review there. And I might actually have, I don't know if I have a rant. Let me see here. Let me get out my weekly notes here. I don't think I have, I'm not sure. I'll try to come up with a rant here as we go. With that being said, let's jump in here. 450 race recap brought to you by our friends at Worx. Always well hung, just like Cameron McAdoo now, because that's the new thing to talk about. So anyway, 450 main event results here. We have Ken Roczen pulls off his first win of the season. Now, we all thought Kenny would do this. He was in the preseason, as most of us had picked him to win at least a race, much like he did last year. However, he's one of those guys that in the first part of the season here, his results have not been indicative of his riding. He's been much better than what his results have showed. Some bad luck, some first turn crashes, some first straightaway crashes, things like that. Have all contributed to what would be, I guess, a not quite as good of a start to the season as what we thought he might get. But he puts it together last night, goes wire to wire, and honestly, if you watch my reaction show, I said this, I thought this is what would happen after seeing that heat race. He got a good start. He ran away from everyone. No one could catch him. So this isn't really a surprise, and this is truly a Ken Roczen ride, in my opinion. This is what we've seen Kenny do time and time again, and honestly, it wouldn't surprise me to see him do it again this year. I think he's going to be one of those guys, we're going to get to the end of the season, we're going to be like, man, dude, Ken Roczen got third in points. But it's going to be, I think, very underwhelming and very under the radar, to be completely honest with you. But it just goes to show that old technology, not necessarily bad technology. Now, second place, Jason Anderson. Again, this is not a surprise finish with Jason. He looked great all day yesterday. He was fast, top qualifier, flipping people off on camera, which was awesome, by the way. Had the lit kit for the weekend. In my opinion, best looking gear that was out there this weekend. I'm going to have to try to pick some up if Alpine Stars does come out with that. And again, Anderson is one of those guys that's just quietly clicking off races here, that he's got speed, and we do think he could win a race at some point, but he just hasn't put it together yet. He's one of two guys, him and Eli Tomac, who we'll get to, that I think are still going to win races this year, and I think we're going to end up with 7 winners overall, which will be wild, because we don't usually have that many. We usually have 3 to 5 is the usual, so to have 7 is going to be cool, but he's going to, again, just like Ken, all year it's going to be a few flashes here and there, and then just quietly all of a sudden he's like top 3, top 4 in points at the end of the year, and just right there. So that'll be cool to see. Third place, Jet Lawrence there. And this is the first real test we've seen of Jet on a dry track here. We have all been talking, myself included, because I'm the biggest Jet homer. You all know this. You all comment on this. It happens. That Jet on the dry tracks, he gets a start and he just manages from the front. Well, he didn't get a start last night. And we've all been saying, Justin included, and I can't wait to get Justin's take on this in a few weeks here when we reconvene for like Dallas. He didn't get a good start last night. He was like 15th going through the first corner. Through the first timing loop, he was in 11th, and he ends up moving through the pack to get third there, which to me was an incredible ride because there wasn't really a lot of places on that track to make time. No one was really making up time, so to see him kind of come through there. Now, yes, he had some come to Jesus moments in that race where everybody went, uh-oh, including casing that triple, which was super weird. I'm not sure why that happened, how that happened, or anything like that. But overall, I think this was a great ride and a very good proving point of, like, this was a championship ride. Now he's got the red plate. Now he's up 6 points. What can he do with this? Can he now manage this championship from the front without winning every race? I don't know. We'll see. Do I think so? Yes. Do I think as we get into some better track? The track last night, we all thought was going to be awesome. There was lots of talk of how we all thought it would race well. It would be cool, super long rhythm sections, everything like that. And then it just got built really weird. Like the transitions, everyone said was really weird. I felt like the spacing was really weird. Apparently, it was more to do with the transitions and how steep they were, etc. But I really did think that the track was going to work well last night, and it ended up not. So we'll see going forward here like I said, on a track that there really wasn't anywhere to make time, and everybody was just doing the same thing and funneling to the same line. Jet made time, and Jet made passes. So we'll go with that. Eli Tomac gets 4th. Eli looked a lot better yesterday. He's going to be the product of my TLR tinfoil hat here, which we'll get to later. It's been a weird week with all the news coming out around what happened last week in Detroit. Was this a bounce back ride for him? I don't know. Is that Achilles still kind of lingering? I don't know. Is there behind the scenes stuff going on? I don't know. We'll get to more of that on the TLR tinfoil hat, but right now, it's not the greatest Eli Tomac. I know everybody's still like, oh, we're waiting. We're just into the, into February here. This is where he starts to roll. Yeah, but usually by this point, when we get into the first 2 weeks of February, Eli's like either on the podium or winning the damn race every week. And the fact that we're not seeing that makes me I'm nervous. I'm really, really nervous. Now, someone who might be turning it around here, Hunter Lawrence gets 5th. Great start. Ran essentially with Jet there for a while. Tracked down a bunch of dudes. And, ends up getting 5th place, which is a season best. From not qualifying in the first round to 5th place here, this is much better. And I've kind of heard this theory on Hunter of like, he came into the 250s and it took some time and he had to build and all this kind of stuff like that. Maybe that's the case. I'm going to hold judgment still on this one. But that could possibly be a thing. And maybe as we go throughout the year, he'll build. And then when we get into next year, he'll build more. And if he can stay healthy, hopefully he'll continue to build. Again, there's still some, from what I understand, some underlying health issues behind the scenes that we're not really talking about that might be holding him back. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But it's a step in the right direction, in my opinion. Dylan Ferrandis, 6. Didn't really see anything with Dylan all night. But again, this is pretty typical, like 4 to 9 range right there. 9 being a really bad night, 4 being his really good nights. And again, he'll just be right there inside that top 10 in points by the end of the year here, I think. But I don't really see, outside of maybe a random podium here and there, I don't really see him doing a whole bunch more. Cooper Webb, interesting night. Looked really good in practice. Looked really good at the start of the heat race. And then just a weird fade all night. Now, what happened? Who knows? Could be bike issues a la Tomac last week. But this was strange because especially how fast and how good he was in practice, I thought we'd see him jump out. I thought we would see him really up there battling. And he was just flat in that main event. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. We're coming into East Coast rounds here where the dirt's a little tackier, it's a little deeper, all that kind of good stuff that really, really bodes well for Coop's riding style. Malcolm Stewart, he kind of showed up last night. He was, at least showing some signs of speed. 8th place, still not great. Still probably not the results he's looking for. But okay, I don't have a lot to say on that because it's been such a weird year. Hopefully he gets it together and we can see him start battling up more towards the top 5. But as I told somebody in a comment this morning, somebody has to get 8th and 12th. And when there's 15 factory guys who've all won 250 titles and most of them are 450 champions too at some point, somebody's got to get that spot. So it just, that's something we're just going to have to get used to. Speaking of having to get used to here, Chase Sexton gets 9th. Hand injury, not a secret. They came right out with it. So that was interesting. And supposedly just a bone bruise. We'll see. It didn't look great last night, but I understand you got a bone bruise. You can't hold on. That's rough there. This isn't great. Obviously cost him the points lead last night. He rode okay up until that main, but you could literally watch in that main that hand get worse and worse and worse till he was like barely holding on. Hopefully these 2 weeks off, it'll get that kind of remedied there. Hopefully he's smart enough to just stay off the bike and just get this hand better over the next 2 weeks here while we have time off. But we'll have to wait and see. If he comes out in Dallas and finishes 5th or worse again, the hand's going to be an issue. So anyway, his teammate Aaron Plessinger, spicy last night. Good start in the main, then goes down. Real sad. He's much better than I had anticipated here. I thought, he got that win and he was at that high, and then last week was kind of okay. But then when he came out spicy last night, I was like, ooh, this is interesting. So he's probably my surprise of the year so far. I'll be interested to see like how far he actually goes here into the season with these good results. But so far right now, he's very, very impressive. And again, just a dumb tip over last night. Too much brake going into that corner, slides the front end, and just like that. On a track where you can't make time and it's super fast, so you're losing all these spots, this is what happens. Justin Cooper, 11th. Okay, this fits right in where we thought kind of Justin Cooper would be, say that 6, 7, 8. Again, a not great start or not having the top end speed on this track because I feel like he was up front on the start, but I can't remember exactly. This is just where he slots in some nights. This is just going to happen. Christian Craig, same thing. This is just where he's going to slot in until he really starts to feel some confidence in that elbow. Vince Freeze was a roadblock all night at 13th. Shane McElrath, 14th. Justin Hill, 15th. Dino, 16th. Benny, 17th. This one here is a little interesting. Justin Barsha, 18th. His team manager has said, like, oh, just give us a couple of more weeks. If we come out in Dallas and he's not battling up towards that mid top 10 range, we'll call it, 4 to 9, there's an issue. And it's a big issue because this is, I know he had that podium, but it was at a weird kind of muddish race and there's something brewing here that I don't think is great. So, and we know he's getting older. He's at the tail end of his career here, so we'll just see where we go from here. Chiz is going to chiz at 19th. Freddie had an uneventful night, in his words, at 20th. Derek Drake, 21st. And Devin Simonson made the main for 22nd. And that has been your 450 race recap brought to you by our friends at Gutterworks. Again, I apologize that there's not more to talk about. The race itself was a little boring there. And on top of that, I'm by myself here. So I'm just giving you as much as I can, what I've seen, what I've kind of listened to. I've listened to some interviews here today. So that's that's basically it. Holster Co. Reload rant for this week. Make sure to check out our friends at Holster Co. for all your things that go boom, boom, bang, bang, and everything else in between there. As far as that goes, man, my rant is just kind of like that track kind of sucked last night. Why would you build the transition so much different than you've been building them all year? There was an opportunity there. And this kind of goes back. I've been having this thought. I'll rant about this, okay? I've been having this thought. So we go outdoors. We race essentially the same tracks every single year. Sometimes they make little changes to the layout here and there, but for the most part, they're the same. And it works out fine. We never have that much similarity per se as far as winners and podiums and that kind of stuff. Why in Supercross, since we're basically going to the same stadium most of the time, why can we not find the tracks that have raced the best and just keep them? Glendale, I don't know what year it was, sometime in recent history, last 5 years, was awesome. Like, let's go back and do that again. Let's just build that track, and let's race that track until it doesn't work anymore. And then when we get a couple years of like, that race was pretty boring, then we'll go back and we'll come up with a new design. But seeing as how we go to the same stadiums, for, call it 75% of the races every year, why can we not just have a generic track per stadium, not necessarily generic, but specifically for that stadium, that works, that we know race is good? Because if we could do that, then we'd have good racing all the time. I don't know, just a thought. It's kind of my rant because I'd just like to see some better racing. Like the last 2 weeks, Detroit was not that interesting, and neither was Glendale here. So, and I know we'll get that sometimes, no matter what we do. But I wish we could. I wish there was a way to spice it up and make it a little more interesting every single week. So that's been your Holster Co. Reload rant there. Sorry I wasn't really ranty today, but I'm doing my best here. Now, TLR Tinfoil hat here. TLR Coatings, for all your custom powder coating needs. Link in the description down below. They ship nationwide, so make sure to check them out. Okay, TLR tinfoil hat here. So we all saw the issues Detroit had, the issues Tomac had in Detroit. Now here's where things start to get weird. So the beginning of the week, it starts to come out of, there was a shock issue, when it was shock shims failed, shock this failed, shock that failed. Something with the shock failed. That's what caused his issues. The team comes out, and they immediately put out a press release. Not the bike's issue, not a bike issue. He got arm pump. Okay, that's interesting to throw your rider under the bus there, but all right. Now it comes out on the broadcast last night. They had a fork issue, which was causing him to hold on tire and cause arm pump. There's something interesting there going on, that the story keeps changing. Now, we all have probably heard Phil rant on Pulp-MX a few weeks ago about the transmissions in the Yamahas not being great. Is there an underlying issue with the Yamaha suspension this year in the 24 bikes? I don't know. Haven't heard anything about it yet, but maybe. And they don't want that coming out because they've already had bad press about the transmission issue, which they're now trying to fix. My other thing is that Tomac's not really one to get blame thrown on him that he's not putting on there. So if the team is doing this, my TLR tinfoil hat conspiracy at this point is that this is going to be the last time we see Tomac. And if him and the team have started to have a division here and they're not seeing eye to eye and we're just all over the place, I know we talked last week about like, would he call it quits early this year? And Justin said, no, he's not that kind of guy. And I don't think he's that kind of guy. Unless there's a major division within the team, then maybe. So there's something happening here with what's causing Tomac's issues that isn't really being talked about. Because when it gets foggy and there isn't a direct press release or a direct, hey, what the insiders are hearing and they're talking about, something else is going on. So that's my TLR tinfoil hat conspiracy, is that there's something going on between Tomac and the Star Yamaha team that's not in the good. It's more towards the bad. So anyway, there's that. I believe that's been the halftime report here. I don't have anything else that I can think of to talk about. This is where I wish I had the guys. But thanks for tuning in. Thanks to all our sponsors. Complete Racing Solutions, 50 Grafx, TLR Coatings, Holster Co. Gutter Worx, and Isaac Nelson Designs. Thank you to all of you. Again, links in the description down below. Okay, 250 race recap. Brought to you by our friends at 50 Grafx for all your custom graphics needs. Get 15% off. Again, link in the description down below. So RJ Hampshire has the good circumstance of winning the race, which is awesome. This is kind of the RJ we all thought was going to show up. However, RJ's been doing RJ things the last, what are we on, round 5? So we're on round 6. That's round 5 for them. So RJ did what we thought RJ should do the first round, and then the next 3 rounds, RJ did normal RJ things, and now we've got RJ doing what he should be doing again. And to be really honest, I really would like to see RJ win this title because I feel like he's the only one who's prepared and has any gusto to go the 450 class here. The rest of these guys I don't think have anything. RJ rode really great last night. Very veteran ride. Just made sure to keep himself in a good spot, and just when the opportunity was right, he pounced. I really didn't think he was going to win that. I thought Levi Kitchen was going to win that last night because Levi looked great all day, minus that slide out in the first corner for the fake start. But good on RJ to win it, and now he's improved his points position. You know, we're doing well. We're on the upwards trajectory, but now we have 6 weeks off for the West Coast guys. Levi was second, rode great, commanding lead basically now in these points here. I think this title is his to lose, but again, I'd like to see RJ do it because I don't think if Levi wins, does he back it up next year? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? And then he's got to go to 450s. And is he ready for 450? There isn't any of these guys that I'm really, they should be ready for a 450. RJ's the only one that I think even is remotely close to that. So RJ first, Levi second. Joe Shimoda has a great ride to get himself into third. It was really good. We'll call it a Shimoda spotting because the rest of the year has just been crap. Will he pick it up here when we come back from the break? Maybe, because now he's like basically out of this title as far as I'm concerned. So maybe when he comes back, no pressure. He's had some time to do a couple more tests. Maybe he'll do good. But this is the Joe that we all think should show up all the time that just doesn't. So Jordan Smith had a very Jordan Smith night. Multiple issues there. 2 crashes in the main event. One like his qualifying crash where he slid out. And then another one there with the whole thing with him and Levi and the lights being on. So super interesting. But he drops the red plate. The red plate is now solely in possession of Levi. And I just think this is what you're going to get out of Jordan. Like, I just don't think he can hold it together for a whole season. I'm not sure RJ can either. That's why I think I want RJ to win, but I think Levi's going to win this title. So anyway, Marchbanks came from a shit start to get 5th. That was pretty good. Mitchell Oldenburg rode well for 6th. Julian Beaumer got 7th. That dude's super fast. And I think you give him another couple of years here to really learn and put together like a consistency with the speed. He's going to be the title guy. Maybe not in 26. We'll call it 27, I think. He's going to be there. Phil, another veteran ride for 8th. Okay. Robbie Wageman was up there at one point, like in the top 5 last night. He was riding really, really solid there with a 9th. Hunter Yoder had some great starts and ended up 10th place. And Hunter's just quietly right up there in points too, which is strange. Carson Mumford. Let's pause on Mumphy here for a second. So Mumford rode really good in that heat race. Mumphy was going for the kill on, I don't remember who it was. He was going, maybe it was Kitchen. He was going for the kill in that heat race there in the first lap or two. Like when he went up there in that corner to try to make the block pass, that was not a block pass where we're going to hit like this. That was a block pass if we're going to hit like this. And I kind of question, there's been some questionable tactics by Mumford as far as like going after guys, kind of, which makes him a perfect candidate to ride the MCR bikes. But he's going to have to get over this whole I got slighted by the industry thing because, man, if he were to take out a title contender like that, really for like for a heat race win, you want to talk about blacklisted in the industry. And again, I may not agree with that whole situation being blacklisted, but that's what's going to happen. So that was a very interesting move in my opinion. I'm not sure if anybody caught it, but it was interesting there. Anthony Bourdon, another quiet night, 12th place, not quite as good as he's been, but he's like 5th in points, which is weird. So Cole Thompson got 13th, Talon Hawkins 14th. Sorry, I don't have a lot to talk about with a lot of these guys. Again, the race was kind of just meh last night, much like it was in Detroit. Outside of that start in Detroit, Max Miller 15th, Josh Freese 16th, TJ Albright 17th, Maxwell Sanford won the LCQ again for 18th. Billy Laninovich makes his second main of the year, which was awesome, 19th place. Guillaume St. Cyr 20th. Blaine Silveria was 21st. Ryder D 22nd. Bad crash there. Not sure what's wrong with him. Haven't heard anything. Wish Justin was here because Justin usually gets that kind of info. But he rounds it out at 22nd. And shout out to Slade Verola, whatever. Shout out to Slade Verola of HBI Racing yesterday. Super sick starts yesterday, dude. Super sick. Hole shotting. Both those races, I think the LCQ and the heat race. Super sick. And that's been your 250 race recap brought to you by our friends at 50 Grafx. So that is sorry again. I know this is a rather like a really, really short show for us here. But between everything that's going on today and not having co-host and all that kind of stuff, like I said, I'm traveling here tonight. This is what I got for you guys. This is what I got. I was going to try to have somebody on. Like maybe Kev or Isaac or somebody to at least bounce something off of. But I had such a busy day. Scheduling that kind of stuff was going to be a mess, and I needed to get this done and over with and out the door. So that's going to wrap it up. Thanks again to all our sponsors. Again, Complete Racing Solutions, 50 Grafx, TLR Coatings, Holster Co., Gutter Works, and Isaac Nelson Designs. Make sure to check them all out. Links in the description below. Merch links on the shop shelf down below. We are going to be off next week here because obviously there's no race, so I'm not even we're not doing any shows next week. I'm taking the week off. I'm headed out of town here with the fam, so no shows next week unless something breaks. I'll do like a breaking news video, but outside of that, no other shows. We will be back in 2 weeks when we come back to Arlington, back for the East Coast guys. We'll have Deegan Danger Zones and everything. So thanks everybody for tuning in. This has been the Moto Aftermath Show. I'm Travis. We'll see y'all in 2 weeks.